Thank you for joining us today. This is Paul Wilson.
And Chris Emke.
And Chris Searle with the UCC.
And you're listening to the Diesel Performance Podcast. Guys, we're only 14 days away from Ultimate Callout Challenge.
Oh, boy. Oh, man.
We thought we would bring on one of the organizers of the event, Chris Searle, directly from UCC and DPI Expo. Chris, how the hell are you?
Doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Excited to have you on the show. Chris is going to co-host the show with us today.
Yep.
We're going to kind of go through everything, and we'll dig into some of the stuff at the expo and at the show here towards the end. Ultimate Callout Challenge, in case you've been living under a rock, that's where we bring together 28 competitors to drag race, dyno, and sled pull. It's going on May 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Brownsburg, Indiana at Lucas Oil Raceway. Chris, how would you sum up Ultimate Callout Challenge to somebody who knows nothing about it?
It's the Super Bowl of the industry. Oh, sorry, that wasn't me. Wow. See,
we're gonna say which Chris?
Yeah, man. You know.
Okay, Chris Searle is going to be Chris, and you'll be Emke. Is that
Deal? I like that. All right, you can edit that out. Ask the
do.
question. We'll go into it.
Chris? If you were going to describe UCC to somebody who's never heard it, how would you describe it?
It is probably the Super Bowl of the diesel industry. It's the only event that takes one truck and makes it do a triathlon of drag racing, dynoing, and sled pulling. You know, one beast of a truck doing all three. I mean, that's unheard of. One
truck, one weekend, man. And it is the biggest and baddest trucks in the country.
Yep.
And that's really, this started as an invite-only event, and then it really kind of evolved into something even cooler where now there's qualifiers to get in.
Now you have the college D1. You know, I mean, that's what you have with the qualifier bracket. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Awesome, man. So the qualifiers, that's your chance to go into one of the qualifier events. There will be a qualifier event going on at UCC, kind of in tandem with the event. So there always will be some action at the show. And you can actually go through one of these smaller events, qualify to get into the Ultimate Callout Challenge, and then the following year, you'll be able to compete with the big dogs. So it really opens it up to where anybody with a dream in a pocketbook can make this happen.
A dream in a pocket. Or if you have a good mouth, you could just sell everyone.
What was that, Chris?
And I was saying, I got some news that we haven't even announced.
Yeah.
We're changing the qualifiers this year, and we're actually making it so it's a running points total over the course of the year to get into the UCC qualifier. But in addition to that, the qualifiers at the UCC this year, however many of them have a better score than the 10th place UCC competitor, are instantly getting an invitation this year. So we made it even easier for guys to get into it. Yeah, so now you can go out to, like, we're going to have 10 different qualifiers this year, I think it is, where you can go out and improve your scores throughout the year on, if you want to go on just sled pull, just to improve your sled pulling score, you can go do that. If you want to improve your drag racing score, you can go to one and improve your drag racing score. And then we'll take a select number of the overall and invite them to the UCC in 2020.
That's awesome. All right, so that's what Ultimate Callout Challenge looks like. Now, there's a lot more to talk about, but real quick, I want to take a break and jump back over to a tour that Mr. Emke and I did over at WC Fab, checking out their powder coating operation, which is just impressive, if nothing else. What's the difference between powder coating and, rattle can?
Well, that's an easy one. The powder coat is going to be a much stronger, higher quality finish. And what you see here in this booth, this is actually a ceramic coat booth. So something, when we moved into this new shop, instead of a high temp powder, which doesn't have a very high temperature rate, only about 1,000 degrees, we actually started a ceramic coating application, which it's a wet application sprayed out of a paint gun similar to auto body paint. So this particular booth here that you see Austin working in right now is where we apply our ceramic coating, which is what we use on all of our hot pipes, turbo down pipes, turbo exhaust housings, headers, manifolds, exhaust systems, what have you. And that stuff gets sprayed on and is an air dry, and it's actually good for 2,000 degrees.
Wow. Okay.
So that's the ceramic. I'll mention that just because we're standing right in front of it. And right next to you here, you'll see the powder coat booth. So the powder coating is a little different from your typical spray paint, let's say. Powder coating is actually a negatively charged, the rack is negatively charged, the powder coat is positively charged, so when the rack actually goes into the booth, he actually hooks a ground cable up to the bottom of it. And the powder comes out of the gun, a very light mist of dry powder, and it's actually, it adheres to the part. It'll wrap itself around a round pipe. You can spray one side of the pipe, go around the back side, and it's almost fully covered already. So the powder is actually attracted to the part due to the polarities. So the powder goes on dry in the booth, comes out of the booth, and then it'll go into the oven. And powder coat is baked on. So it comes out of the booth dry, it's just essentially tacky, it's sticking on the part. It goes into the booth, and depending on the weight of the part, it will go in the oven at anywhere between 350 and 400 degrees for 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how heavy the part is.
Like a sheet of brownies.
Yep. And then it comes out of the oven. You can hear the oven beeping now. There's some product ready to come out. It'll come out of the oven, and essentially it'll look a different color, but once it dries, once it cools down, it is your finished product. So he's walking into the oven right now, and that's, yeah, you got to kind of close your eyes. You got to wear welding gloves. And looks like he's got a ATV frame coming out of there right now, working on some outside product. So I guess I'll roll into that. You know, at Wehrli Custom Powder Coating, we don't only powder coat the product that WC Fab produces, we also powder coat anything you want to bring us. If it's a aluminum, steel, cast iron, any sort of metal component that can withstand oven temperatures of 400 degrees, no, we can't powder coat plastic, so don't ask. Yes, we've been asked, yes. You can bring us anything, whether it's wheels, four-wheeler parts, snowmobile parts, motorcycle, any of that good stuff. So we powder coat anything.
All right, guys. Now that we're back from that, there's some other things to talk about at Ultimate Callout Challenge, and we want to take this moment to kind of bring it in personal for us, something that Emke and I are going to be directly involved in, and that's our booth C6, Charlie 6, at the DPI Expo. Chris, DPI Expo, 128 vendors. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is correct. We'll have 120, and they're all diesel related. I do not have a churro stand inside the DPO Expo or a blow-up toy or someone trying to sell you rain gutters. They are all diesel industry companies in there.
So are you telling me if I bring a churro stand, I can make a lot of money this weekend?
You could, yes, you could. Put that in your C6 booth there.
All right. I'll give you a little kickback. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that might be a problem, Chris, because in our C6 booth, we're going to have a project that's actually just going to be ready in time. We're literally fine-tuning it right now. And tell us a little bit about the Hummer, man.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We over at the shop probably about 6 months ago. We had a 1995 Hummer, wagon that we got out of New Hampshire, brought in, and it's one of our shop trucks. So new conversion, and as anyone would probably guess, there's a Duramax in it. So we have an LBZ-based Duramax built motor, Allison 1000. It's one of our DT750 builds. And then we've dealt with a lot of, our friends in the industry. WC Fab, they did their piping kit and coolant reservoir and their powder coating, of course.
Sure.
Exergy, they supplied the fuel system, injectors, and pump. Calibrated Power Duramax Tuner EFI live tuning for the engine and for the trans.
Pilo Motorsports on the conversion kit.
We also have our Stealth 67 G2 Turbo, and then Pilo Motorsports is the company or the mastermind around the conversion kit itself. So the radiator, intercooler stack, the drive train itself as far as transfer case, differentials, the lift, the suspension. It's a really cool truck. So that'll kind of be the debut that we're going to have it there at the booth. One of the other cool projects that we've been working on over the last couple years has been in an emissions-equipped LML twin turbo kit. 2 years ago at the UCC, so the first year that it was in Brownsburg, we had a gentleman there, Matt Rosenberg from Rosenberg Automotive. There was a big magazine article, a couple different articles throughout the months over his build, and that was an emissions-equipped north of 700 wheel horsepower. We've had a couple more years under our belts kind of perfecting that. So the vice president of Calibrated Power, his name's Jamie Curley, we actually have his 15 LML that will be at the booth with our emissions twin turbo kit.
Yeah.
Exergy's 10 millimeter CP4 drop-in pump.
Yep.
Some other goodies, that you'll be able to see there. And then the last thing, the Apache, and there's some cool things going on with that. What do we got going on with that, Paul?
Yeah, so if again, I guess if you've been under a rock or don't follow Duramax Tuner, years ago we took a 1958 Apache and I say threw it onto an 03 Duramax frame. It was a 2-year project to complete it, and when it got done, it had a ZF6, it had a built motor, it had a Stealth 64, and over the years we've continued to upgrade it. So now it's back to having an Allison, so now it's an automatic. It now features a Stealth 67 G2 turbo, and what was really cool is our friends over at Summit reached out to us and hooked us up with the engineer and the sales team from Edelbrock. And for the first time ever, this huge, massive aftermarket automotive company of Edelbrock is starting to dip their toes into the diesel market. Yep. And they're doing that with a set of cylinder heads. Obsessively engineered, perfectly crafted.
They're cupless heads, by the way. That's a huge value in the aftermarket with the LB7s.
Absolutely.
So Edelbrock has come to the market with 2 versions of the heads, LB7 and LML, which is very strategic. Those are the 2 longest production year motors.
Right.
So one of the things that we've been working here at the shop between the techs and Nick was we did a baseline, right? The Apache is something that we built here in-house. We know what the truck makes, but we strapped it back onto the dyno and got new numbers, fresh numbers. And then what we're doing is we're doing the Edelbrock heads, swapping those onto the truck, and then we're going to get a baseline of a before and after.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the things that we, been deliberately working on here at the shop, and we're going to debut that and kind of, show off what that platform looks like at UCC. Yeah, I get it, guys. We're not going to be able to see the heads firsthand, but it's there. It runs. They're a living, breathing, or a live thing, if you will, right? The truck works. It runs. It does what it's supposed to. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Stop by, talk to us about it. Nick's going to be in the booth most of the time, so I'm sure he'll love to get into any details you want about the Apache Max or the Edelbrock heads. And hey, speaking of Nick and talking to him more about stuff he knows about, that's what our Diesel Insights series is all about. So Diesel Insights is a video series we do on the Duramax Tuner YouTube channel. It features Nick and sometimes some other guests talking really just about general diesel knowledge. It's a place where we could spend 5 minutes or 20 minutes diving into some really in-depth topics.
Yeah, I think the Diesel Insights that just went live, so this is going to, go live, the podcast, the same day that we record. So yesterday, Diesel Insights went live. Paul, Justin, our producer, you guys did an awesome job with that. But it featured Nick and one of the sales guys, Anthony Bernini, and they tore apart an 03 LB7. Like, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Like, the truck's rough. We know that the truck's rough. Nick has his dry one-liners left and right, and it was comical to say the least. But I think that it was an eye-opener. When you go on Craigslist, you go on Facebook Marketplace, you see that truck on the side of the road for sale, you think it's a great deal. It might be clean, but once you start to dive into, a 15-year-old, 16-year-old truck, it's a different story. It really is a different story, So it's an eye-opener to say the least, just because a truck's online and it's advertised fresh injectors and a built trans, it's ready to rock and roll. Those are the ones you're going to be more skeptical on. So
Chris,
an eye-opener.
Chris Searle, what is the worst used car you have ever gone to go look at?
What are you talking about? I even bought it. You guys have seen my smart car that I drive around in. It has to be the worst one, but I had cash. They took it. I drove it and regretted every minute I've owned it. Now I can't get rid of it. So I donated it to the UCC as a second reason.
That's awesome. How about you, Paul? What's the worst car you've ever bought?
Ooh.
I mean, I've seen you in some fucking doozies.
It's also the car that I love the most.
Yeah.
It was the absolute worst was the 2-door Tahoe with the 6.5 in it.
Okay, yeah. There's a backstory
it spent more
there.
time on the rack than on the road.
There's a backstory with that Tahoe too, my guy.
Yeah, true story.
Okay.
So that was my worst. But Chris, you've driven some real pieces of shits. Emke, what's the worst?
Man, you know what? I'm gonna think about this one for a minute because I don't think I've ever bought a piece of shit that didn't make me money.
I hate you. You know what I'd much rather talk about is Diesel Performance Industry Expo and UCC and all of the stuff going on outside of the UCC event itself. And Chris Searle, that's one of the reasons that we brought you on the show today. There's just a ton of stuff going on, man. Walk us through some of the highlights. What can people really look forward to?
Well, obviously we got the UCC competitors, the qualifiers, the 128 vendors. Well, as this event starts to grow, the industry starts to embrace it, it starts to get even larger. So we've had a lot of great things. This year we've teamed up because, the UCC, the diesel performance industry, it's about growing the industry. It's not about singling our show out from everybody else's. We want to just be one of the big kickoff shows to get everybody excited, make sure they're out at Rudy's and Shides and hitting those weekend diesel events that local shops are putting on. So we've teamed up with ODSS, and we're going to have the Quick 8 shootout out at the UCC as well.
That's so cool. Now, ODSS is essentially now today's top bracketed diesel race trucks.
Yes.
So so they're running the 8th mile track there? Or they're going to do
everything. They're going to do the 8th. UCC competitors switched to an 8th as well because last year they were going so fast that we took a vote, and the UCC competitors were like, yeah, we need to be at an 8th. We're going way too fast for a quarter mile. So all the drag racing this year will be 8th mile.
Awesome.
In addition to that, we have some other little side things. Shide's bringing out their rail. They're going to do an exhibition run. We got the Easy Link Coupe. We're going to be out there. They're going to do a run for us as well. Just something different, mix it up a little bit. We got Alligator doing 2 live builds during the 3 days at the UCC. Right there, they got 2 stages set up right behind their booth. You can watch the progress of those 2 builds going on.
Yeah, guys, make sure to come check that one out. I'll actually be emceeing that one, so I'm really excited for that live build.
Or that's a reason to not watch it.
And then we have a couple celebrities coming out. Fast is bringing out Steve Darnell with Vegas Rat Rods. He's going to be in their booth signing autographs. And then also Amsoil's bringing out Kenny Hawk, and he's bringing out his Wrecker. And he's going to be in their booth signing autographs both Friday and Saturday. Both of them will be there doing that. We've got a huge raffle that we do every single year. This year it's even bigger out at the DPI booth. We got about $15,000 worth of product and gift cards that we're going to be giving away at the show. Amsoil is the title sponsor of our show and shine. Since they stepped up, first off, I think we did post yesterday the trophies. They made some kick-ass trophies for the event. But since they stepped up and started doing this, I'm almost sold out of spots. Like, I wasn't going to limit how many people can enter the show and shine, but as big as the UCC is and the DPI Expo, I only have so much room to put the show and shine truck. So we're only going to have 150 spots for the show and shine, and I'm almost completely sold out of the show and shine spot.
Oh my God.
I'm going to have to get on that then.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Shit.
Like 2 years ago, there was 30 trucks in the show and shine.
Yeah.
It was like it was like, oh shit, I got something in the parking lot. I guess I could wash it up.
I remember last year. Okay. I remember getting there. I want to say it was Saturday. And you're checking out the show and shine. It was really badass, really cool. And it was the beginning of the morning. Probably like 11-ish o'clock, 12 o'clock. 2:30 comes around, and I go to the tower. Okay.
Yeah.
And it literally tripled in size. Like there was like maybe 3 rows. Now there was 6 rows. Those rows extended out longer, like towards the entrance of the raceway. It was insane.
Yeah.
It was completely insane. So 150 spots, almost all taken up. I'm gonna have to get on it.
Now,
and not to leave them out too. XBP has been gracious enough to bring out they're going to bring out their diesel monster truck there as well. So it's awesome. Like you guys were talking about your booth. I've heard what some of the other people are doing in their booths, the trucks that are coming. The different things. Each one of the vendors is stepping it up again this year. If you guys were out there in 18 and 17, you saw the jump from 17 to 18. Like everybody's stepping up. Like in 17, we had 2 vendors actually buy the big pop-up tent. The big wedding tent.
Yeah.
They put up there. We rent now every single tent in Indiana. The place we rent them from actually rents them from other companies. We have 24 tents that the vendors pick up. I mean, And that just says a lot. We just really appreciate all the support, to make the show even that much more impressive for the fans, for everybody out there.
Absolutely, man. It is the fastest growing event in diesel. It's the biggest event in diesel. This is Mecca, man. This is what it's all about for diesel guys. Really, guys, don't miss it. And hey, don't wait until to get to the door to get your tickets. I think that's something that's happened in the past.
Yep.
So you guys know it's $30 a day, $75 for the 3-day pass, which is a hell of a deal. Prices will be higher at the gate, so they're not going to be the same price at the gate as they are for pre-sale.
Well, you're going to pay for convenience.
Yep.
You want to wait till last minute, pay up.
Yeah. And it was packed
And not
last
only
year.
that,
Go ahead.
And not only that, we decided the event shirts that we do each year, the 2018, 2017, have been hugely popular. And so we went back and forth on debating, do we just buy just a crap ton of them, make sure everybody has one? We decided this year we've sold more tickets this year to date by about 25% over the last year. We did not increase our event shirts. So event shirts for the UCC, we'll have other UCC shirts, but if you want the dated 2019 Ultimate Call-Out Challenge presented by Alligator with the sponsors on the back shirts, we are limiting the run of that. So if you want to guarantee a shirt, that's another reason to hop online and pre-buy your tickets as well. We'll have one set aside saved for you.
So you save money and get a shirt.
Uh-huh.
Guys, you heard it here.
Man, guys, again, we can't explain how excited we are. Chris Emke, myself, will both be at the show, of course. Chris, you're going to be running around doing interviews, working at the booth. Definitely, guys, stop by C6, check out Mr. Emke, talk to Nick, talk to the rest of the team. Justin, our producer, he'll be at the show. He'll be hanging out, I think, with the crew from Truck Source Diesel. So he'll be there pretty much the whole weekend, kicking it with those guys and Wade and everybody else. If you guys have questions or comments about the show or anything else that you really just need to know or contact somebody, Chris, Searle, how can they get a hold of you?
Just have them shoot me an email. Email's easiest right now because I'll be honest with you, my phone is blowing up 14 days out, but quickest way, and it's just Chris, CHRIS, at DPIExpo.com, Diesel Performance Industry Expo.com, DPI.
This has been Paul Wilson.
And Chris Emke.
And
Chris Searle.
Thanks for listening.
The Diesel Performance Podcast is brought to you by Calibrated Power Solutions, home of DuramaxTuner.com. Calibrated Power develops emissions-equipped calibrations for a wide variety of diesel powertrains, including the Duramax, Cummins, PowerStroke, John Deere, Case, New Holland, and many more. For more information and great customer service, check out calibratedpower.com or call 815-568-7920. That's 815-568-7920.
Worse has been said about me.
Yeah, today.